Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine that tomorrow every problem you've ever worried about disappears. Your bank account is limitless. Every door opens for you. You can travel anywhere in the world. No one controls your time. No one tells you what to do. By every definition, you are free. But then, you wake up, and instead of excitement, you feel something else. A strange emptiness, a weight that no amount of money can lift. You keep telling yourself that tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow you'll start that dream. Tomorrow you'll become the person you've always wanted to be. Tomorrow you'll finally live. But tomorrow never comes. Days become months. Months become years. Before you realize it, your life has quietly slipped away. Not because someone stopped you, but because something inside you did. The truth is, the strongest prison on earth has no walls. It has no guards, no chains, no locks, yet billions of people spend their entire lives inside it, without ever realizing they are prisoners. This is the story of the only prison you cannot escape, until you first learn to see it. After years of wandering across deserts, mountains, forests, and forgotten kingdoms, a lone traveler discovered a place unlike anything he had ever seen. It rested quietly in a valley surrounded by towering cliffs. White stone buildings reflected the morning sun. Rivers flowed gently through every street. Flowers bloomed in every window. Children laughed without fear. Musicians filled the air with beautiful melodies. There were no soldiers, no prisons, no kings shouting commands. And perhaps most surprising of all, there were no walls protecting the city, only one enormous gate, permanently open. Anyone could leave, anyone could enter. The traveler smiled. "I've spent my entire life searching for freedom," he whispered. "Perhaps I've finally found it." Days passed. He explored every corner of the city. Everyone welcomed him with kindness. Bakers offered fresh bread. Artists shared their paintings. Teachers spoke proudly about their schools. Every person gave the same answer when asked about their lives. "We are happy. We have everything we need. There is nowhere better than this." At first, he believed them, until he noticed something strange. Every morning, at exactly the same moment, bells echoed across the city. Without hesitation, everyone stopped what they were doing. Bakers returned to their ovens. Teachers opened the same lessons. Artists painted the same landscapes. Merchants arranged their stalls in the exact same order. Every movement, every conversation, every routine, repeated, day after day, week after week, year after year. Nobody questioned it. Nobody changed it. Not because they had to, but because they had forgotten they could. On the seventh evening, as the sun disappeared behind the mountains, the traveler noticed an old man sitting alone beneath a massive tree overlooking the city's open gate. Unlike everyone else, he wasn't working. He wasn't talking. He simply watched the road leading out of the city. Curious, the traveler walked toward him. For several moments, neither of them spoke. The silence felt strangely comfortable. Finally, the traveler asked, "Why does no one leave?" The old man smiled gently. "Because they believe they are already free." The traveler frowned. "But the gate is open." "Exactly. Then what's stopping them?" The old man slowly reached into the pocket of his worn robe. From it, he pulled a small iron key, rusted, ancient, weathered by time. He placed it into the traveler's hand. "Every citizen receives one of these when they become an adult." The traveler examined it carefully. "What does it unlock?" The old man looked toward the open gate. A faint smile crossed his face. "Nothing. The traveler blinked. Nothing? The key has never opened a single door. Confused, the traveler asked, "Then why does everyone keep it?" The old man's eyes filled with quiet sadness. "Because they were told it was important. No one has ever questioned why." The traveler stared once more at the rusted key resting in his palm. Suddenly, it felt much heavier than before. The old man slowly stood and turned toward the city. Before disappearing into the fading light, he spoke one final sentence. "The strongest prison isn't built to keep you inside. It's built so you'll never think about leaving." The traveler looked beyond the open gate. For the first time, he felt afraid to take a single step. The old man disappeared into the quiet streets, leaving the traveler alone with a question that refused to leave his mind. He looked down at the rusted key resting in his hand. It unlocked nothing. It had never unlocked anything. Then why had every citizen carried it for their entire lives? He slowly turned toward the great gate. It had been open all along. No guards, no chains, no warning signs. Nothing prevented anyone from walking through it. Yet in all the days he had spent in the city, he had never seen a single person take that first step. He hesitated. A strange fear settled over him. It wasn't fear of what lay beyond the gate. It was fear of leaving behind everything that felt familiar. The old man's words echoed in his mind. The strongest prison isn't built to keep you inside. It's built so you'll never think about leaving. Taking a deep breath, the traveler stepped beyond the gate. Nothing happened. No alarms, no monsters, no invisible force pulled him back, just silence and an endless road stretching toward the horizon. The road was unlike any path he had walked before. Every step carried him farther away from the city, yet closer to something he couldn't explain. The air felt lighter, the silence deeper. There were no voices, no crowds, only the wind weaving through ancient trees and abandoned ruins. For hours he walked alone. Then he noticed something strange. The farther he traveled, the more clearly he could remember dreams he had forgotten years ago, dreams of becoming an explorer, an artist, a writer, dreams he had quietly buried beneath responsibilities, expectations, and fear. He realized something unsettling. Those dreams had never disappeared. He had simply stopped listening to them. The prison had never erased his freedom, it had only distracted him from it. As the sun climbed higher, enormous stone statues emerged from the mist, hundreds of them, silent, weathered by centuries. Every face looked toward the distant city. None looked toward the open world behind them. At the foot of one statue rested a worn inscription. It read, "They waited for permission to live." The traveler stood frozen. He looked at the endless line of statues stretching across the valley. They weren't kings, they weren't warriors, they were ordinary people. People who had waited for the perfect moment, the perfect opportunity, the perfect version of themselves. But life had never waited for them. Stone by stone, their dreams had become monuments to hesitation. Reaching the top of a mountain, the traveler turned back. The city looked beautiful, peaceful, safe. From this distance, nothing seemed wrong. He understood why no one wanted to leave. Comfort is convincing. Familiarity is powerful. Even a prison can feel like home if you've never known anything else. He realized that freedom isn't always exciting. Sometimes freedom is lonely. It asks difficult questions. It demands uncomfortable choices. And above all, it requires responsibility. Many people don't fear prison. They fear the uncertainty that comes after escaping it. As the sun began to set, The traveler finally understood what the old man had been trying to teach him. The prison was never the city. It wasn't the gate. It wasn't the key. The prison had always been invisible. It was built from beliefs accepted without question, from routines repeated without purpose, from fear disguised as safety, from dreams postponed until tomorrow, again and again, until there were no tomorrows left. At that moment, the rusted key slipped from his hand. It struck the ground. He smiled. For the first time, he understood. He had never needed the key. The door had always been open. The only thing keeping him inside was the belief that he couldn't leave. The traveler continued walking until the stars filled the night sky. The road stretched endlessly before him. There were no signs, no destination, no voice telling him where to go. For the first time in his life, every choice belonged to him. At first it felt like freedom. Then it became terrifying. He realized something few people ever understand. Most of us don't fear being controlled. We fear being completely responsible for our own lives. It's easier to blame the world, easier to blame our past, easier to blame fear, because as long as someone else is responsible, we never have to change. Freedom demands something prison never does. Responsibility, every dream left unfinished, every opportunity ignored, every excuse repeated. They were no longer the city's fault. They were his. He stopped walking, slowly. He turned around. The valley behind him was empty. The magnificent city had disappeared. There were no towers, no rivers, no open gate, nothing. Only endless silence beneath the stars. At that moment, he finally understood. The city had never been a place. It had been a state of mind. The gate, the key, the old man. They had always been reflections of a choice every human being must eventually make. To remain where life feels safe, or to walk toward the unknown. Alone.
Maybe you've been waiting until you're smarter, richer, older, more confident, waiting for the perfect moment to begin living the life you've imagined. But what if that moment never comes? What if the only thing standing between you and the life you want is the story you've been telling yourself? The traveler looked down at the rusted key one final time. It had never opened a door. It had never possessed any power. The only power it ever had was the power people believed it had. Quietly, he smiled. Then he placed the key on the ground and continued walking into the endless horizon without looking back, because he finally understood something that most people never will. You don't become free when someone opens a door for you. You become free the moment you stop asking for permission to walk through it. Every one of us carries an invisible prison, built from fear, comfort, expectations, regret, and tomorrow. The question is not whether the prison exists. The question is, will you spend the rest of your life decorating its walls? Or will you finally walk away? Maybe the gate has been open since the day you were born. And maybe no one is coming to push you through it. Only you can take that first step. So before this story ends, ask yourself one question. What invisible prison are you still choosing to live in? Because your answer might change the rest of your life.